Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Buzzy B. Esther. So today I want to focus on the heavy metal detox smoothie. Some materials you'll need are a blender, a knife, a lemon squeezer, and all the ingredients. Some of the ingredients include a teaspoon of spirulina. I use the Vimergy brand. A teaspoon of barley grass juice powder. I add alma powder as an extra supplement. 2 cups of wild blueberries, frozen or fresh. 2 bananas, but I usually make at least 3 servings at a time. 1 orange. Some extra water for mixing it. Fresh cilantro, stems included, about a cup. And a tablespoon of Atlantic dulse. I wanted to take this time to tell you about a couple of things with my content on this channel. So this is my voiceover of my ASMR food recipe video. You'll see some captions on the top, which I included in my ASMR videos, and it just tells you more about different things, some different information about what the things do. I did make a blog post about all of this information as well. So generally I will put out an ASMR video, and then I will put out the voiceover with the blog, because the voiceover explains everything in my blog post. So if you don't prefer to read, then I suggest looking at this voiceover. So I just wanted to put that out there so you're not looking at the same content. I will tell you that I put in similar things, but I do sometimes go on a different track when I'm speaking. So you might find a little bit of different information if you look at both. So I hope you enjoy. Just wanted to let you guys know. To prepare, you're going to combine all the ingredients in a high-speed blender. Blend until smooth. You can add more water to thin out the smoothie if needed. Serve and enjoy. It is best to serve this smoothie right away so the ingredients do not lose their potency. However, when I'm making them for the week, I usually do 3 smoothies at a time, and I will leave out the powders and put them in the day of so they don't lose their potency. The powders are a little bit more expensive, so I definitely, I think that's better than not doing anything for them. I got the powder tip from Munize, the Intuitive Medicine Woman. You can find her on Instagram, and I also posted links for her information on my blog. Another tip, if when you start drinking this smoothie, if you think the spirulina and barley grass juice powders are too strong, you can try to just put a little bit in at a time and then slowly work your way up. You will find that your taste buds do change as you continue to cleanse and get things to be different in your bodies. You can also use the Vimergy pills for spirulina and barley grass juice powder instead. Details matter. So the medical medium always talks about how we need to make sure that we're getting barley grass juice powder, not just barley grass powder. I made that mistake when I first started with these smoothies because the barley grass powder was a lot cheaper than the barley grass juice powder. So they actually take the juice and make it into a powder instead of just, basically, I think the barley grass powder is just the powder of the grass without the juice in it, so after they extracted the juice. So it is a lot cheaper because it's not as nutrient dense. When purchasing a spirulina or dulse, make sure it's from the Atlantic Ocean, not the Pacific Ocean. In one of the lives that Medical Medium did, he mentioned that the Pacific Ocean is like a big giant trash dump. So he does not recommend getting your sea vegetables from there, including Atlantic dulse or any kind of algae that you might buy. In this next section, I want to talk about modifications to the heavy metal detox smoothie and the morning routine. So you're going to learn about my cilantro problems and how I started actually liking it. Negative reactions like heartburn, modifications for taste, tips for finding ingredients, and size suggestions for dealing with hunger in the morning routine. So first, I'd like to talk a little bit about my cilantro aversion. I absolutely hated cilantro when I first started this heavy metal detox smoothie. When I was younger, I never really had cilantro in my food. It's just not something my mother used. The first time I had cilantro, I actually got eggs for room service in a fancy hotel when I was on a trip with my aunt in New York City. And I remember thinking these eggs taste like soap, and I had no idea why. So it turns out I didn't realize that it was the cilantro that they used to season the eggs with that made me not like them. I figured this out when I had fresh pico de gallo on a taco with a friend, and he had mentioned to me that cilantro aversion is actually a hereditary trait that people have where some people think it tastes like soap. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because there's sometimes I felt things tasted like soap and I had no idea why. So I pretty much stayed away from fresh pico for most of my adult life. And when I saw that the heavy metal detox smoothie had a cup of cilantro in it, I was like, oh man, how am I going to do this? So I decided at first, I just took a small handful and started chewing it. And I literally would gag with the taste because I hated it that much. I tried to find a better way by possibly juicing it a little bit. So after I would do my celery juice, I would put a small handful of the cilantro through the juicer. And again, that made me gag, but it was a little bit more bearable because I could just kind of shoot it down, then have to chew on it and endure the disgusting taste longer. After about, I don't know, I'd have to say maybe 3 or 4 months or so, my taste buds started changing a little bit. And I started realizing that I wanted to taste a little bit of the cilantro. And I started putting it in the smoothie. And then I only would put a little bit at a time. And then eventually I would put more and more in. And now I actually like the little bit of taste of cilantro in my smoothie. And I even had fresh pico after probably about 4 months or so of doing the smoothie every morning with the morning cleanse routine. And to my surprise, I absolutely loved it. The cilantro didn't make it taste like soap anymore for me. So that was a really, really awesome experience. The reason why this heavy metal detox smoothie changed my taste for cilantro is because the medical medium explains that the cilantro aversion is actually because of heavy metals corroding inside of either the brain or in the body somewhere, and the toxic runoff from that corrosion ends up in the lymphatic system and into the saliva. So bugs and different things hate the taste of cilantro, which is why it's so healing. And that immediate reaction of the corrosive metals in my saliva with the cilantro made it taste like really bad to me. So I don't know if everyone, if all the people with the cilantro aversion have it where it's tasting like soap, but for me, that was the case. So if you do have a cilantro aversion and you're worried about it, know that your taste buds can change, which is really amazing. I wanted to talk about another negative reaction I had to this smoothie when I first started it. Bananas gave me really bad heartburn in the morning. So I would have my lemon water, which would, again, give me heartburn. I had really bad acid reflux and was taking prescription omeprazole, and, it just wasn't good. So when I first started this smoothie, I had a pretty bad reaction because the lemon water and the celery juice and the bananas would all give me heartburn. So I changed out the bananas because the bananas were specifically harsh after all that beginning stuff. I would change it out to either mangoes or papaya. And papaya, not my favorite fruit, but with the blueberries, you can't really taste it as much. So papaya is really good for your skin, and mangoes are amazing too. I found that with this switch that I did not have as much heartburn, which was amazing. Another tip, I had a hard time finding some ingredients at times. So Obviously, the Vimergy stuff and all the supplements, I can get them online. And the Terrasol Alma powder I found on Amazon. Medical Medium also has a supplement list on his blog where you can find exactly what he recommends, because he finds the best supplements that don't include alcohol or any additives that really don't make them good. I also had a hard time finding blueberries at first. Acme, which is the market that I usually go to, would have them one week, and then the next week they'd be out. So I found them at Target, but I don't usually go to Target very often. And then finally, I found out that ShopRite, which is also down the street from me, started selling them, and they sold the Wyman's kind. So I go to Lidl usually to get some cheaper produce, then Acme to get some things, especially name brand things for my husband, and then I'll go to ShopRite to find other items like the wild blueberries. I can also find aloe leaves at ShopRite, which I can't find at other places, and I can also find turmeric root there too. So those are just some different items that are sometimes hard to find that don't necessarily have to do with the heavy metal detox smoothie. So that is what I do for my routine. Next, I want to talk a little bit about size and hunger. The lemon water and celery juice kind of stuff me in the morning because it's a total of 64 ounces of liquid. And I take my time during the morning to drink this, and it takes me about 2 to 3 hours to get through the whole routine. Therefore, I use only about 5 bananas instead of 6 for the 3 days worth, because I don't like a lot of food in the morning in general, and it satisfies me. But if you tend to get a little more hungry, then you might want to have a little bit more bananas. And you can also, on the side, you can make like a potato hash or potato waffles, because potatoes will really satiate you if you tend to get hungry. So that's just a couple of tips. I'm also going to include what each ingredient does from the Life Changing Food books and the Medical Medium blog, as well as the Vimergy site. I'm going to put that on a second video because this one is just about ending. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and look out for that other video. Take care.